Okay, welcome back. So let's go ahead and get these robots working with a little bit of intelligence. What I've done is I've taken essentially the last two pieces of code and recombined them into one. So if we look at the code, you'll recognize some of this from a couple videos ago. I have two variables, the left IR and the right IR. I have two constants, which are going to be the pins that those two IR sensors are hooked up to, A1 and A2, on both the Pro Mini and the Teensy board. And I have the servos hooked up, or created a variable to work with the servos. And here in the setup, all I'm going to do is launch the serial communication. I've removed the last video. You saw that I had the attach thing going on here, but I'm going to pull upon it only when I need a servo to move. I've also brought back the print sensors because to set it up we may want to see what's actually going on and look at the individual values coming off the sensors, because I'm going to create some if-then statements that are going to be dependent on that. Here I've created a subroutine called right wheel, and you'll see the first thing it does is if this routine is called upon, it's going to attach the right servo to pin 3, and it's going to create this little variable here, go, and it's going to create a for loop that is going to loop pulses of 1,000. This changes a little bit. You know, if you're copy and pasting, that used to say 2,000 for the right servo. I've now made it 1,000. I'm going to spin it the other direction. It's going to go ahead and hit this 50 times. So it's going to pulse it 50 times, 1,000 microseconds with a 20 millisecond delay. And then it's going to detach it. I've done something like that for the left wheel. It's attached to pin 2. I'm going to pulse it 50 times in this for loop for 2,000 microseconds with a 20 millisecond delay, and then it's going to detach it. In the main guts of the program, I'm going to collect, using the analog read, the value off the pin that the right IR is hooked up to, and it's going to be saved into this right IR variable. A little delay here. I could probably get rid of it, but a little pulse delay, a little time is always a safety measure for me. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the left one. The pin that the left IR is hooked up to is going to collect analog data, and it's going to save it into this variable here, the left IR one. I'm going to then print it, and actually, you know what I should do is bring back this delay so we can actually see it happen. So it's going to print those values. I've put a delay in here so it's long enough we can actually read it. And then it's going to make a decision. Okay? If the value on the right sensor is greater than 400, well, let's call the right wheel and make it spin. And then it'll detach. If the sensor reads greater than 400 on the left wheel, well, it's going to attach the left wheel, it's going to loop it 50 times, and it's going to detach it. This is going to run an infinite loop. I don't have that while statement. And it's just going to do it forever and ever. So let's try it now. Let's hook it up and do it to the, well, let's put it on the Pro Mini first. Put it on the Pro Mini. And the Pro Mini is hooked up to COM4. And let's load it up. Got my handy dandy card with my black line on it here. Okay, let's turn on that serial monitor so we can sort of see it. We can see those numbers popping up, and if I hold it underneath the left sensor, we can see it goes up 500. If I hold it underneath the right sensor, it goes up to 600. Let's turn on the motors and let's see what happens. Okay. It works just like you'd think. Now notice this, if I hold it there, it stalls. Well, that's that 500 millisecond delay. If I go ahead and get rid of that, and let's just get rid of the print sensor, and let's get rid of that delay and reload it, we should see a relatively fast and seamless operation here. And see, if I hold it, you don't even hear a delay at all. Okay, so I'm going to turn that one off. Let's go ahead and try it on the other one. We're going to put it on the Teensy 3.0. And we're going to hook that up to COM port 3. And we're going to load it up. Now again, I've already removed that sensor, the print sensor and the delay on this piece of code. So it should work really quickly, although we have to wait for it to load. And let's turn on the motors and okay. So you can see now we can probably build a pretty, obviously we could build a line follower from here, and we're not far away from building a sumo battler. So let's just continue on. I'll see you guys shortly.